If you're over 60, there's something important about hydration that almost nobody explains clearly, and it has nothing to do with drinking more water. Most of us were taught one simple rule: drink plenty of plain water, and your circulation will take care of itself. But as the body ages, hydration doesn't work the same way it did at 30 or 40. After 60, several normal age-related changes happen at once. Blood volume gradually decreases. Blood vessels become less responsive, and the body's ability to regulate fluids and electrolytes isn't as efficient as it used to be. That means plain water alone doesn't always trigger the same circulatory response it once did. This is why many older adults drink water throughout the day and still experience cold hands or feet, low energy, lightheadedness, or that heavy, sluggish feeling in the legs. The water is there, but the circulation response may be weaker. Now here's the key point, and this is where science comes in. Research from major medical institutions shows that how you hydrate can matter just as much as how much you hydrate. Certain natural compounds found in everyday foods and spices can support blood vessel function, help maintain blood volume, and improve how efficiently blood flows, especially in older adults. And in some cases, the body can respond noticeably faster when water is paired with the right ingredients, compared to drinking plain water by itself. In this video, we're going to count down 6 simple, research-supported ways to upgrade plain water, starting with the mildest effects and working up to the one that tends to produce the fastest circulation response. No extreme claims, no banned substances, no replacing medical care. Just practical, evidence-based hydration strategies that work with the aging body instead of against it. And make sure you stay until the end, because the number one isn't complicated, but it's the one most people completely overlook. Let's start with number 6. Number 6, green tea instead of plain water. Starting with number 6, and this is the most gentle upgrade you can make to plain water, but don't underestimate it, because it lays the foundation for everything else on this list. Green tea isn't just water with flavor. It contains naturally occurring compounds called flavonoids, which have been studied extensively for their role in supporting blood vessel function. According to research discussed by major medical institutions, flavonoids help the inner lining of your blood vessels, known as the endothelium, respond more effectively when blood flow needs to increase. And that matters more after 60 than most people realize. As we age, blood vessels naturally become less flexible. They don't relax as easily, and that can reduce circulation to the hands, feet, brain, and muscles. Plain water hydrates you, but it doesn't actively support that vessel response. Green tea does gently, safely, and over time. What makes green tea especially useful as a replacement for plain water is that it works without stimulating the nervous system too aggressively. Unlike coffee, green tea contains a small amount of caffeine paired with L-theanine, an amino acid that promotes calm alertness rather than jitters. This combination helps maintain steady circulation instead of sharp spikes and drops. Studies have shown that regular green tea consumption is associated with improved endothelial function and better blood flow efficiency. This doesn't mean you'll feel a dramatic rush or instant heat like with stronger options later in the countdown, and that's actually a good thing. Number 6 is about consistency, not intensity. Drinking green tea once or twice a day helps support the baseline health of your blood vessels. Over time, this can make your body more responsive when you hydrate, move, or change posture, something many older adults struggle with as circulation slows. Another benefit is hydration retention. Green tea provides fluid just like water, but because it contains bioactive compounds, the body tends to use that fluid more effectively rather than flushing it straight through. Many people notice they stay hydrated longer compared to drinking plain water alone. To get the most benefit, preparation matters. Use plain green tea, no sugar, no syrups, no bottled versions loaded with additives. Steep it gently, not boiling hot, for about 2 to 3 minutes. Overbrewing can make it bitter and reduce its pleasant effects. If caffeine sensitivity is a concern, decaffeinated green tea still retains many of its beneficial compounds and is a perfectly valid option. Think of number 6 as the baseline circulatory support drink. It won't overwhelm your system. It won't interfere with medications for most people, and it doesn't try to force blood vessels open. Instead, it supports the systems that naturally decline with age. And once that foundation is in place, the next options on this list build on it in more noticeable ways. Because number 5 doesn't just support blood flow, it helps your body hold on to hydration instead of losing it. Let's move on to number 5. Number 5. Light electrolyte water instead of plain water. Moving on to number 5, and this is where hydration starts to work with the aging body instead of against it. Plain water hydrates, but after 60, hydration isn't just about fluid anymore. It's about fluid balance. As we age, the body's ability to regulate electrolytes naturally declines. Thirst signals become weaker, kidney function changes, and blood volume tends to drop slightly over time. When someone over 60 drinks large amounts of plain water without electrolytes, the fluid can pass through the system quickly without being fully utilized. That's why many older adults find themselves urinating frequently, yet still feeling tired, lightheaded, or poorly circulated. Light electrolyte water addresses this problem in a simple, controlled way. Electrolytes, like sodium, potassium, and magnesium, help the body retain fluid in the bloodstream instead of flushing it out. This supports circulating blood volume, which is one of the most important factors for maintaining steady blood flow to the brain, muscles, and extremities. Medical institutions have long recognized that even mild dehydration can reduce circulation efficiency and contribute to dizziness or fatigue, especially when standing up or moving quickly. What's often overlooked is that drinking only plain water doesn't always correct this in older adults. Number 5 works because it changes how water behaves inside the body. When water contains a small amount of electrolytes, it's absorbed more efficiently and stays in circulation longer. That means more consistent blood flow, better oxygen delivery, and less of the in and out effect many people experience with plain water alone. Now, it's important to be very clear here. This is not about sports drinks, sugary electrolyte beverages, or high-sodium formulas. Those are designed for intense athletic exertion and can actually work against circulation if consumed regularly. What we're talking about is light electrolyte water. A simple example is adding a small pinch of natural salt and a splash of citrus to a glass of water. The goal isn't taste, it's function. The sodium helps retain fluid, while the potassium from citrus supports normal vascular signaling. Many people notice that when they switch from plain water to light electrolyte water, they feel steadier, less fatigued, and better hydrated throughout the day, even without increasing total fluid intake. This can be especially helpful first thing in the morning, when blood volume is naturally lower after sleep, or during warmer weather when fluid loss increases. Number 5 doesn't force blood vessels to open or create dramatic sensations. Instead, it supports the baseline conditions required for healthy circulation. Think of it as making sure there's enough fluid in the system for the heart and blood vessels to work efficiently. And once that foundation is set, the next option on this list begins to directly support how blood vessels relax and expand. Because number 4 introduces a compound the body uses to signal blood flow at a deeper level. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4, beetroot water instead of plain water. Now we're at number 4. And this is where circulation support becomes more direct and more noticeable for many people. Beetroot has been studied extensively for one specific reason. It's naturally rich in dietary nitrates. These nitrates aren't stimulants, and they don't act like medication. Instead, the body converts them into nitric oxide, a molecule your blood vessels use to signal when it's time to relax and widen. That process becomes less efficient with age. After 60, nitric oxide production naturally declines. Blood vessels don't respond as quickly, and circulation can feel sluggish, especially in the hands, feet, and legs. Plain water hydrates, but it doesn't address this signaling pathway at all. Beetroot water does. This is why beetroot juice has been studied by major medical and research institutions for its effects on blood flow and blood pressure, particularly in older adults. The findings are consistent. When dietary nitrates are available, blood vessels are better able to dilate, allowing blood to move more freely. What's important here is timing and preparation. Beetroot doesn't work like caffeine or spice-based drinks that create an immediate warming sensation. Instead, Nitric oxide levels tend to rise gradually, often peaking 1 to 3 hours after consumption. That means the effects are smoother, steadier, and longer lasting. For hydration purposes, beetroot works best when it's diluted with water. This turns it into a functional hydration drink rather than a heavy juice. The water supports blood volume, while the beetroot supports vessel relaxation, a combination plain water simply can't provide on its own. Many people notice that after using beetroot water regularly, they feel less heaviness in the legs, improved endurance while walking, and better overall circulation during the day. These changes aren't dramatic or overwhelming, but they're measurable and meaningful over time. Preparation matters. You can use fresh beetroot juice diluted with water or beetroot powder mixed into water. The key is to avoid added sugars and keep portions moderate. More is not better. Excessive intake can upset the stomach and doesn't increase nitric oxide proportionally. One thing worth mentioning, because it often surprises people, beetroot can temporarily change the color of urine or stool. This is harmless and simply reflects how the pigments are metabolized. It has nothing to do with blood or kidney problems. Number 4 is especially useful earlier in the day or a few hours before physical activity, when improved blood flow can support movement and stamina. Some people also use it in the afternoon to maintain circulation as energy naturally dips. This option doesn't force circulation. It supports the body's natural signaling system, which is why it's so well tolerated by many older adults. And while number 4 focuses on helping blood vessels relax, the next option adds another layer by helping protect those signals from breaking down too quickly. Because number 3 works on the quality of blood flow, not just the width of the vessels, let's move on to number 3. Number 3. Pomegranate water instead of plain water. Now we're at number 3, and this is where hydration begins to support not just blood vessel relaxation, but the quality and stability of blood flow itself. Pomegranate has been studied for its unusually high concentration of polyphenols, natural compounds that help protect blood vessels and support nitric oxide activity. And this matters because producing nitric oxide is only half the story. The other half is keeping it active long enough to do its job. After 60, the body doesn't just make less nitric oxide, it also breaks it down faster. Oxidative stress increases with age, and that can interfere with how effectively blood vessels respond. Plain water hydrates, but it does nothing to protect these signaling molecules. Pomegranate water does. Research discussed by major medical institutions shows that pomegranate compounds help support endothelial function, which is how well blood vessels respond to changes in blood flow demand. This includes adjusting to movement, temperature, posture changes, and physical activity, all areas where circulation issues often show up later in life. What makes pomegranate especially useful in this countdown is how it complements what we've already covered. If number 4 helps blood vessels relax, number 3 helps those relaxation signals last longer and work more efficiently. That can translate into steadier circulation rather than short bursts followed by drop-offs. For hydration purposes, pomegranate works best when it's diluted with water. This turns it into a functional drink rather than a sugar-heavy juice. The water supports blood volume, while the pomegranate compounds support vascular responsiveness. Many people notice that when they replace one glass of plain water with diluted pomegranate water, they feel more consistent energy, warmer extremities, and less of that afternoon circulation slump. These effects aren't dramatic or overstimulating. They're subtle but noticeable over time. Preparation matters here as well. Choose 100% pomegranate juice, not juice cocktails or blends. Added sugars can interfere with vascular health and counteract the benefits. A small amount mixed with water is enough. More is not necessary. This option is especially useful in the middle of the day, when circulation naturally slows and blood flow to the brain can dip slightly. Supporting vascular responsiveness during this window can help maintain focus, balance, and overall comfort. Number 3 is also gentle on the system. It doesn't rely on stimulants, spices, or heat. Instead, it works through antioxidant and signaling support pathways, making it well tolerated by many people over 60. And that's important because as we move closer to the top of the list, the effects become more noticeable and, for some people, more intense. Number 2 introduces a compound that supports circulation by addressing something that quietly restricts blood flow as we age: low-grade vascular inflammation. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2. Turmeric water with black pepper instead of plain water. Now we're at number 2. And this is where hydration begins to address one of the most overlooked factors affecting blood flow after 60 low-grade inflammation inside the blood vessels. This type of inflammation isn't dramatic. You don't feel pain from it. You don't get warning signs. But over time, plain water hydrates, but it doesn't do anything to address this underlying issue. Turmeric water does. Turmeric contains a compound called curcumin, which has been widely studied for its role in supporting inflammatory balance in the body. Medical institutions have noted that curcumin can help support endothelial health, the inner lining of blood vessels that controls when they relax and when they tighten. After 60, that lining becomes more sensitive to inflammation, oxidative stress, and metabolic changes. When it's irritated, blood vessels don't open as easily. Circulation becomes less efficient, especially during movement, temperature changes, or periods of stress. What makes turmeric water effective in this context is not that it forces blood flow, but that it helps remove resistance. However, there's a critical detail that often gets missed. Curcumin on its own is poorly absorbed. This is why turmeric water only works properly when it's paired with black pepper, which contains piperine, a natural compound shown to significantly improve curcumin absorption. Without black pepper, turmeric water is mostly just flavored water. With it, the body is able to use curcumin more effectively to support vascular function. When turmeric water replaces plain water, many people notice smoother circulation over time, less stiffness, more consistent warmth in the extremities, and better tolerance for physical activity. These changes don't usually happen instantly, but they tend to become noticeable with regular use. Preparation matters here as well. Turmeric water should be warm, not boiling, and mixed thoroughly with a small pinch of black pepper. Adding a tiny amount of healthy fat, like a splash of milk or plant-based milk, can further support absorption since curcumin is fat-soluble. This drink is often best used earlier in the day or with meals, as it supports circulation without overstimulation. It doesn't rely on caffeine, spice, heat, or sugar, which makes it suitable for many people who are sensitive to stronger circulation boosters. Number 2 works at a deeper level than the options below it. Instead of just helping blood vessels open or improving fluid balance, it helps create an environment where blood vessels can respond more normally again. And that's why it ranks so high. But even with all of these benefits, there's still one simple hydration upgrade that tends to produce the fastest noticeable circulation response for many people, especially when plain water just isn't doing the job anymore. Because number 1 doesn't work slowly. It works through a direct sensory pathway the body uses to regulate blood flow in real time. Let's move on to number 1. Number 1. Warm water with cayenne instead of plain water. And now we're at number 1. The hydration upgrade that tends to create the fastest noticeable circulation response for many people over 60. This isn't because it's magical. It's because it works through a direct sensory pathway the body uses to regulate blood flow in real time. Cayenne pepper contains a compound called capsaicin. Capsaicin interacts with specific nerve receptors involved in temperature and circulation regulation. When these receptors are activated, the body responds by increasing blood flow to the skin and extremities as part of its normal regulatory process. That's why warmth spreads through the body. Unlike the other options on this list, number 1 doesn't rely on long metabolic conversion pathways or gradual antioxidant effects. It triggers a rapid vascular response, which is why many people feel it within minutes rather than hours. After 60, this pathway becomes especially relevant. As blood vessels age, they often lose responsiveness to subtle internal signals, like hydration status alone. Plain water enters the system, but it doesn't always prompt blood vessels to adjust quickly. Warm water with cayenne adds a clear signal the body recognizes immediately. The warm water itself already helps slightly by encouraging blood vessel relaxation. When cayenne is added, that signal becomes stronger and more coordinated. Blood flow increases to the surface, circulation becomes more active, and many people notice tingling or warmth in the hands and feet shortly afterward. It's important to be clear about what this does and what it doesn't do. This drink doesn't cure circulation problems. It doesn't replace medical treatment, and it doesn't permanently change blood vessels on its own. What it does is help activate circulation in the moment, which is why it ranks number 1 in this countdown. Preparation is simple but matters. Use warm water, not boiling. Add a very small amount of cayenne, starting with just a pinch. More is not better. The goal is stimulation, not discomfort. This drink should feel warming, not painful. Many people find this especially helpful in the morning, when circulation is naturally slower after sleep, or before light movement, when the body needs a gentle push to get blood flowing efficiently. Because this option works quickly, it's also the one that requires the most awareness. People who are sensitive to spice, have digestive conditions, or are on certain medications should start very conservatively and pay attention to how they feel. Number 1 is powerful because it speaks the body's language. It doesn't ask the body to slowly adapt. It doesn't depend on long-term buildup. It simply provides a clear signal that encourages blood vessels to respond. And when used appropriately, it can make hydration feel active again instead of passive. That's the full countdown. 6 ways to upgrade plain water after 60, from gentle daily support to fast-acting circulation activation. You don't need to use all of them. Many people rotate 1 or 2 based on the time of day, their sensitivity, and how their body responds. The key takeaway is simple. Hydration works best when it's matched to how the body changes with age. And sometimes, a small change to what's in your glass can make a noticeable difference in how you feel.